On your marks, get set, go! Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and with our day 26 of No Nonsense November. This month, every month, sharing just a piece of lessons learned, life lessons that I've learned over the last 6+ decades. I hate to say it, but it's 6+ decades now. And we have talked about a lot of crazy, well-learned lessons so far. 25 as of yesterday, 26 today. And today, I want to just talk about starting. And I thought, start with one, and then I thought, start first. And, you know, the first step is always the hardest. I don't know about you, but I learned, probably in college, or maybe even in high school still, that the hardest thing I had to do, and actually it was reinforced over years and over time, the hardest thing I have to do every single day is to actually get out of bed. That transition from sleep to actually getting out of bed, when that alarm clock goes off, how many times do you hit snooze? I used to hit snooze all the time. I used to have to play tricks on myself to get up and wake up and get to class and get to school and get to things on time. I would actually take my clock, and I had one of those wind-up clocks that my parents got me in Japan. So it had to be wound up every night. The alarm had to be set, and it had the most terrible, obnoxious ring on it. It was like, rah! It was super loud. I would set it across my room, and it was one that didn't shut off by itself. So the only way it would stop making that horrible, horrible noise is if I got out of bed and walked across the room and turned it off. And that is how I trained myself to originally wake up in the morning and get up in the morning, because I like sleep and I didn't want to get up in the morning. You know, teenagers, we like to sleep back then. So I learned that starting something is the hardest thing. It's that beginning the race. It's starting a book. You know, have you ever started to read a book and you're like, oh, you got to get into it. And then once you get into it, you get momentum and you just keep going and going and going, and you don't want to put that book down, if it's a great book, of course. Or watching a movie, or doing anything, starting a new hobby, doing anything new. The hardest part is just starting and then getting over that initial bump of when you're asking yourself, well, do I really want to do this? You start, and then you get a little bit of success, and you're like, oh, do I want to keep doing this? Maybe we'll talk about momentum tomorrow, and to keep going without quitting. I don't think we've talked about quitting yet. I guess I'd have to look. We did talk about don't quit and quitting. Nope, we didn't. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Yay, we got tomorrow's subject. I'm going to write it down before I forget. But sometimes we think when we start something, that we have to know everything we need to do in order to accomplish something. Say we want to start a business, or we want to start looking for a new job, or we want to start looking for a new relationship. We think we have to do all these things before we can even get started. But the truth is, we just need to take that first step. We need to take one step, one tiny action toward what it is that we want. So I always like to say, as soon as I make a decision, or I think about something, or I get an idea about something, I can not do anything, and then what'll happen in like 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 30 seconds, I will have totally lost that idea or thing. But if I get an idea and I write it down, or if I take an action, say I go on my phone and I Google it because I'm curious about something, that will help to reinforce that idea, and then I can write it down, because if I don't write it down, it's gone. That's just me, because I have ideas and there's opportunities and things coming at us all the time. But I have to start. I have to take a start. And a start is just that first step. It isn't knowing the whole staircase. It isn't knowing anything, maybe. It's just being curious and asking the question. Maybe that a question is the first start. And then it's as soon as, how do we get ourselves to start? Well, Mel Robbins wrote a whole book on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which you just say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off, and then you do the thing you're going to do. It's kind of like the starting gun at a race, you know, or 3, 2, 1, go, whenever you're starting some kind of a race. So figure out what works for you, but understand that the absolute hardest thing to do is to start to take action. But inertia, and an object in motion, tends to remain in motion unless acted upon by an equal or opposite force. So once you start, it takes pressure and energy to cause you to stop. So just start now, start small, start doing anything, but make sure it's moving you toward what you want in your life. But just start. Start by hopping out of bed, and start small, right? I like to start new things in a small way, depending on what it is. But a lot of times, new habits, I like to start small. I say, okay, I want to start this new habit. I want to drink more water, right? We all need to drink more water. So I started out by saying, okay, I want to drink more water. So how am I going to drink more water? I got a Post-it note. My dad told me this. He said, get a Post-it note and get a bottle of water or a glass of water, and set it somewhere that you walk by often. And every time you finish a glass of water, fill it up again and then put it next to your pad. And then every time you walk by, you just take a drink. And then when it's empty, fill it up. And before you know it, and then you put a hash mark on the paper every time you drink a glass of water. And before you know it, you're easily and effortlessly drinking your 8 glasses of water or whatever your goal is. And then pretty soon it just becomes a habit. And you don't need to use the Post-it note anymore. And you don't need to necessarily put your water in your path or your walkway for the day. You can just have it on your desk, and as you're making videos, you can drink it. So, any questions about this? Ask, please, please, please ask in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow with another No Nonsense November. Hey, just go get started, and I will see you tomorrow.